small, please. No worries, you're all right. That's perfect. Thank you very much, Barbara. That would be a nice visual.
How Belinda, do you ever hear from her?
No. No. I know she's safe, but she just had to take over her father's business. So that's kind of been all constrained.
Especially when, any kind of reference to any of the folks in here.
Yeah.
And do you know if Bridget won?
Yes, she
Okay.
Yeah.
All my family
Yes, sir.
voted.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the last time I saw, she had the most votes of all the people on her slate. So, yeah, she did well.
Oh, we can't look up, no, I don't need, no need on. Just HDMI. Yeah. I just need to show stuff on the screen, that's it. Okay. That's gonna be fun. Make sure I just don't set it up for her. It's research, it's research. Okay. We all set? Somebody set? Little offshore club too. Basically stuff is stuff.
I'm doing all right. How are you doing? Is that a schedule that I see you working on? Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought it was spring scheduling that you were still doing. I'm still got some last minutes. Oh shoot, I was supposed to do something today.
I'm going to Oh. Where do you do?
How about the spring schedule? Well, the schedule goes live right after the break, right? So I know. Well, but people can't enroll yet. But, yeah.
See you, remember how you.
Hi, we've met before. Katika Martinez. Yeah, I think.
He's doing really well.
Yeah.
MFT.
Oh, okay. So a couple times. Yeah. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for being here. The department's going all right. I'm department chair, so I hope it's going all right. If that, I don't know. You tell me. No. Yeah, things are fine. This is my second year, so it's a lot smoother. I think. Like now, I know kind of what's coming around the horizon. Whereas the first year, I was just like always like, something new, and like a new deadline. That.
A lot of busy work.
Yeah, so much busy work. But it's all right. Okay, sounds good. It's so much busy work. We got to do the syllabus audit. Are y'all doing the syllabus audit? Oh.
So I do the usual Asian American techie thing. Little stereotypes.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. I think we're going to get started now. This is the last panel of the day. I hope it's been really great for you guys. I've learned a lot just in the short time I've been able to sit on some of the panels, and I'm assuming it's been a really engaging experience for you too. This last panel is looking forward. It's moving forward, and it's an examination of what journalists can do to cover communities of color better, communities of color both on campus and off campus. We have 4 distinguished guests with us today. Amy Tsuyoshi, she's the interim dean of the College of Ethnic Studies. She's right here to my left. Her research interests lie primarily at the intersection of Asian American and queer studies. She's authored 2 books, Discriminating Sex, White Leisure and the Making of American Oriental, and Queer Compulsions, Race, Nation, and Sexuality in the Intimate Life of Ione Nagoshi. She will be moderating the panel. We have 3 panelists in addition to her. Daniel Gonzalez, a professor of Asian American Studies, and he's also an activist. He is a graduate of San Francisco State, and he was here during the student strike. So he has a lot of insight, I think, firsthand insight to bring to the discussion. He teaches classes on Filipinos in the U.S., and he's active in the San Francisco Filipino American Democratic Club. Professor Dorothy Sruda, she's a professor of Africana Studies. She has taught a course called Black Journalism, and she's the faculty advisor for the Black Studies Journal. She also teaches literature and advanced composition, and her insights will also be definitely important. Katinka Martinez is our last panelist, last but not least. She's an associate professor and chair of the Latino-Latina Studies. Her area of interests include communication studies, cultural studies, and media studies. And some of you may actually know her because you've probably sat in her class. She teaches a cross-listed class with us called Latino Journalism. Thank you so much for being here.
So thanks to all of you for being here today, and thanks so much for inviting us to be a part of this panel. Just letting you know that each of our panelists will speak between 15 to 20 minutes, and then we'll have the remainder of the time, about a half hour, for Q&A. Okay. So would you like to begin, Dan?
Okay.
Gentlemen first.
Something like that. I don't know about the German part. But I would do this. Okay. I don't know why I have it so small. Let's take a look at this. I'm going to pick on the situation. This is about covering Asian American communities. I might as well put that up first. Might as well cover that first. This is where I'm going to go. And I'll give you a couple of examples. And I can also send a list of all of the PDFs that I'm going to show you. So covering Asian Americans, anybody else in the panel, or those of you who are in the audience, so you chime in anytime you want. Background ethnic sources for most of the Asian American communities, you got to understand, heavily immigrant for two of those communities, almost 70% of our demographics is first generation. Get it? Okay. So rather than having a well-established, long-term, second, third, fourth, fifth, following generation, we have those. We have those. Two biggest immigrant groups are Chinese and Filipino. And even though, even on the Filipino side, it's 8 generations deep, and it's like 12 generations deep on the Chinese side, we have continuing immigration. And that process is what leads to the 60 to 70%, depends on what communities you're talking about. First generation. First generation immigrants are very distinct in their attitudes and perspectives. And when you take a look at some of the sources that I'm going to show you, they very clearly favor a first generation audience. Okay? So there's an immediate bias, immediate conflict between first generation immigrants who constitute the majority in the Chinese American, the Filipino American, still today, most of the Southeast Asian communities, right? Refugee communities in some regards. Okay. And the only community that doesn't have a high immigration rate is the Japanese American community. Two newspapers that used to exist in the Japanese American community both closed down in 2009. That's 9 years ago. So you can't look for print journalism of the newspaper variety locally from the Japanese American community. And they were bilingual papers. The Hokubei, anyway, was still bilingual when it was put out of business. Even Asian American, generalized Asian American coverage in print is also closed down. It was Asian Week, and that was in existence for years, for decades. Very reliable, very good journalism. Okay, anyway. So print, TV, because they're immigrant, first generation pays for that. It's subscription TV, right? They pay anywhere from $22 to $35 a month for that coverage. That's a lot. It's a lot of money. But my students, Filipino American students, Chinese American students, Southeast Asian students, they all say the same thing. My grandma's got that thing on 24/7. You know, they're paying for it. Okay. I can talk about bias in a second, but blogs, you know how blogs work, right? You better know your stuff before you start relying on blogs. You have to have some basis of real information, factual basis. A knowledge base in the community before you start relying on blogs, because they're biased as hell. Okay. There are some blogs that are really very good. They try to be down the center. They include commentary and analysis from both sides or all sides of an issue. Okay. And then academics. About a week ago, I was asked to act out a series of scenes by the Filipino American organization. PACE is probably the only organization that's lasted 40 years with the same name. Well, actually, they had their 50th anniversary in 2017. And I was had to act like Hayakawa, which most of us knew how to do that. People who were around to strike. But one of the things that they did when they were challenging, they were pretending to challenge the administration, was they were demanding they wanted to have faculty that looked like them. And my response to that was, what makes you think that just because the faculty look like you means that they're going to think like you? Okay. Big mistake. I see universities make that mistake all the time. Okay. I've had people in this building call me up and say, I don't know what's going on. We have a couple of faculty members, they're new hires, and they're really in conflict all the time, and it's terrible. And I say, okay, what's the ethnicity? Just give me one. And he gave me the ethnicity of one. I said, okay. Is the other one Filipino? And they react with surprise. And they say, yeah, how'd you know? And I said, Filipinos are among the groups that get the least respect in Asia. if both of these faculty members were Philippine born, China, Japan, Korea, South Asia born, Filipinos are the lowest on that totem pole in Asia. You got to understand that. Does that affect the way that first generation immigrants want to see the news that they'll pay for, that they'll buy? Hell yeah. Yes, it will. Let's take a look at some of this. Here's the bad news story. This is one bad news story. Where am I? About 7 minutes? Okay. Hokkaibe Mainichi will print its last edition Friday, becoming the second Japanese-American community newspaper based in San Francisco to fold in the last 2 months. Just wanted to lay that out. Really sad, really real. Okay, let me go back here again. Let's go here. And let me put up something. Okay. Who are one of the newest, fast-growing communities. Now, everybody, all of the demographic material says the Chinese and the Filipino communities are the fastest-growing communities. Not in my book, okay? It's South Asian in my book, right? And I think the next census is going to show that, right? Not as visible necessarily at SF State, but at other institutions, very visible. So let me take a look at that. A little different here. Oops, that's wrong. Sorry, I must have labeled it wrong. Let me get rid of that. I'll save that for later. So, oh, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Okay, here we go. All right, this is a good source. Okay. Why am I showing you these? You have to know something about the community if you're going to write about it, okay? You have to know something about the community. Now, I just did a whole thing. I left out academics. I'll get there right now. Why did I? The natural thing is to look for academics at different institutions, different universities, right? They make 2 mistakes, and I'll say the same thing about people who are heads of news agencies. I see the same names mentioned all the time. I'll see 3 newspapers, 4 TV stations, local, talk to the same individual representative of a given community, either a Chinese American community, Filipino American. With the Filipinos, I saw one guy constantly used as the expert opinion. Okay, big mistake. Now the guy was the head of the Philippine News, which is still alive and the biggest newspaper of circulation in the Filipino American community. I used to write for them occasionally, but I was constantly at war with their original owner and publisher, Alex Esclamado, who passed away several years ago. Okay, because he was so opinionated, and what he would cover and the perspective that he would cover was sometimes outright horrible. Outright horrible. Okay, several kids in 1977 were accused of first-degree murder. It was a grocery store robbery, and he wrote stories and had other people write stories that convicted these people before they even went to court. Okay. The irony was that somebody was getting appointed to a high position. He asked me to cover the story, and while we were writing there, he wanted personally to attend that situation. While we were writing there, he asked me what my opinion was on his coverage, and I couldn't hold back. I just ripped in. You know. Said, you're committing a gross injustice. Here's another one. He's a lawyer by training. He's a practicing attorney in the Philippines. He tried to give friend of the court statements when he wasn't a licensed practitioner in the state of California. I thought I'd let him make a fool of himself, so I let him do it. Sometimes I get in a nasty mood. I'll do things like that. SADA, great source, okay, for South Asian stuff. And what it'll show you is if you just look at the level of coverage and the number of places that they have as outlets, it'll blow you away. Okay, let me go here. This is the station that all those Filipino grandmas watch. Okay, and you're saying, what's that? Philippines, bunch of short people. Okay. Yeah, but you know they buy ringers all the time. I got several friends that recruit football players from here, the United States, and then they bring them to and they're stars in the Philippines, right? And you're thinking, tall Philippine? Yeah, there's a few, but there's a lot of stuff, and they really don't care. And I'll show you why. Here's the typically I just covered that, right? Easy to understand. U.S. one versus the country of origin. Oh, and by the way, we're looked down on. We're not authentic, right? Ethnically. Okay. They'll ask. They'll ask you about whether or not you understand or speak have to know something about the communities that you're going to cover, even the smallest story. Okay, or else you run the risk of not being accurate and losing credibility within those communities, and that loses credibility for whoever you're publishing for, right? Okay.
Professor Stupa.
It's interesting that Dan mentioned something at the beginning, just because people look like uh, it's for sure saying that they're with us. For to do with the Fox News, on the part of people on this. That's important. Let me first start with this thing. When I was little, my grandmother always told me I was going to be a teacher because my father was a teacher and her grandfather was a teacher out of slavery. But in high school, all the elementary school I read, Nancy Drew, the Girl Reporter. I read those, everything about it. And I wanted to be a reporter. I was also very, very, very close to my grandmother. That what she wanted, I wanted. But that experience too in Chicago, I think because sometimes, but with my high school journalism class, she made some of the reporters there, and it was many, many years ago. And there was a woman named Jane Hart who was a reporter, and she said to me, it's hard enough for me meeting her, a white woman and a reporter. So you might as well forget about it as a black woman. It's a professional aspect. Encouraging. It's just my Saturday night and the it's like years right. Like and articles that could where she did advance they're pursuing the information that people need to have. And she did such a good job of that. So I think this period, people were united. Uh, reporting situation what's important today, I think, is looking just want to make it today seems to be career-driven young people, not like when I actually graduated from here too as an undergraduate in English, a master's in English, and I went to Stanford for my PhD because I was so well prepared at Stanford, which I really wasn't even planning to apply for, but pushed by my professors. Because my original after journalism and teaching, I thought I would like to teach girls in juvenile hall. But what happens when you appear at a black event and nobody wants you to be in there? It's real distress. As Dan was talking about, people from different ethnicities who get the least amount of respect while they're giving so much to their own people and to this country. And African Americans, we give so much to this country. I can't look at any TV show from, the international TV shows. They're all singing black music, doing black dances. But where do you see them advocating in black causes? My neighbor who's from Germany was telling me, you go to any small town in Germany and you'll hear black culture on the radio. You'll hear black culture in the bars, but if black people go in there, they're gonna be thrown out. My colleague, one of the 1968 strikers, Sharon Jones, is now teaching a class for us, and she just got back from Spain a couple of weeks ago, and she said, every bar, up and down the street, you're hearing black music. She's wondering, where's the Spanish music? I was in Germany giving a talk, believe it or not, in Germany, Mainz, Germany, at the university there. They have a unit called the Obama Institute. And they asked me to be the keynote speaker. And so I jokingly started off by saying, I love Obama, but he could use a few Black Studies classes. But I love him. And more than what Chris Rock's joke is, he voted for Obama so that little black girls could have a pajama party at the White House. That was a joke, you guys. But I love him and I understand what he was up against. It was just some things about not being, some things that the personal touch, he could have done more for ethnic studies around the country. I mean, even when he played golf across the street, he wouldn't come over to the ethnic studies department. And I understood that, and I understood why he couldn't do it. But sometimes I think we cannot accept a position that makes us show disrespect for our people. At one time, the College of Ethnic Studies was viewed as an activist college. I couldn't say that absolutely across the board today. I hope it is. but we would all come together when anything happened to any one of us. And as you know, right now on this campus, we have a Chinese American, I think she is Dean of Students, and her assistant is Latino. And both of them use what could be racist tactics to get rid of Siri McDougal as chair, as interim director of the they made a mockery out of what's called the Black Unity Center that he, with the two black students, founded. One of the students is the son of a Nation of Israel, Islam parents, and the other one is second or third generation Ethiopian. We now have the children born of Africans embracing Black studies, embracing African Americans quicker than their parent generation did. And so what happens on this campus now is we see people of color acting like white privilege or racism came with the job. And we need to have some element with the guts to investigate that and how this could happen. Thus, what happens now when the churches came over to this campus to support him, they remembered old angers of Asian Americans not being supportive of black students and Latino students being able to get into Lowell without a 4.10 something. Those problems have been resolved, but they bring back these memories. And so, as a member of the National Council for Black Studies, and I'm on their board, one of the things I'm asking is that they ask students in their PhD programs to come over to San Francisco State and study where we are right now. I think we're in a similar position, although it probably won't happen, but years ago, when black people at Berkeley were not feeling like they were being supported in their similar vein of something we have called College of Ethnic Studies, but theirs was a department. They moved and they left that department and that college and formed another department. Right now on this campus, if you want to challenge yourselves to learn how do you get over the fear of speaking out loud, or what are the worries of people who speak out loud to their careers on this campus? And specifically, I'm saying